The Polymer Family Recyclers. Planted Earth. Part 1.
Hi, my name's Polystyrene, but you can call me Sky. If you're listening to this on audio, you'll notice I've got a pretty high voice. This is because I'm a rainbow lorikeet. And if you're reading it from a book, you'll notice that I've spelled the words the way they sound. And this is because I'm uneducated. And education is important. And I'm going to try and teach you something that's extra important. It's called plastic recycling. And seeing as it's mainly based on my adventures, I'm going to read it to you in person. The theme of my story appears to be about parrots, but it's really about plastics. By using word association principles, it cleverly blends two meanings together into one story. For example, the word poly can describe a parrot and also plastic. So why can't the word polymer describe a family of plastics and a family of parrots? And why shouldn't polymerization describe the making of plastic and the making of a bird? After all, you white monkeys have got no idea of how we birds speak. This story is full of double meanings, which will probably confuse you, but don't panic. It becomes a lot clearer when you compare the story to the plastic explanation at the end. The best way to remember everything is to run through the story first, then go back and examine each part of it, then compare it to its counterpart in the plastic's description.
The story starts many, many moons ago, in a little forest town called Eden, a suburb of Aussie land.
Life was fairly normal, growing up in a nest with two brothers and twin sisters, until one day when my mother, said to me,
"Styrene, it's time you left the nest. You need to find a girl bird, polymerize her, and have some eggs. Then sit back for about 3 weeks and watch them grow into little polymers. And after that, you can kick them out of the nest so they learn to fend for themselves. Just like I'm about to do to you right now. Getting polymerized will make a real poly out of you, just like your pa. And who knows, one day you might make us proud by making a recycling number for yourself. But don't rush into anything, because we polymers have very, very long lives. And now that you're leaving, I think it's time I told you that you're not really a feathered freak, because you're huge and have a big blue head. And you're not a scaly-breasted lorikeet, like the rest of us, either. You're a rainbow lorikeet. We adopted you as an egg. Now pack your legs and get out of my tree.
At first, I was shocked at this news, but I liked the idea of becoming a family bird, and was just about to flap off and start looking for a girl. But at that time, what I really needed more than anything else was a branch over my head and a hot oatmeal. So I looked through the Greeny Pages newspaper and ended up finding a share accommodation with an old wombat. But it rained really hard the first night, and his hole was flooded out. After that, I rented a brand new tea tree bush, but the smell reminded me of a hospital. So I moved out, and then moved straight into a one-bedroom nest in an old forest red gum. I was very comfortable, until one night when it was very windy, and I fell out of the tree, nest and all. It was now 6 nights since I'd had any sleep whatsoever, and I was really pushed. So I slept right there on the ground, with the dirt.
And now, let's hear Pete's story.
Hi folks, I'm Pete, the youngest of the Poly-mer family. I'm the next bird to be kicked out of the nest after Sky. My friends at school nicknamed me the teacher's pet, because I always took one apple to school each day for my teacher, Miss Orlet. I was always playing computer games and watching TV, until one day my pa said to me, "You'll get triangle eyes if you keep watching that TV set. Why don't you go outside and help your brothers and sisters recycle?" And so that's what I did. I ended up discovering a new type of rubbish, which the white monkeys called soft drink bottles. My great idea was to cut the tops off them and place them upside down over the top of baby eucalyptus saplings. This protected them from the white monkey's deadly acid rain, and it allowed them to grow into strong, healthy myrtaceas, which was the family name for eucalyptus trees. Meanwhile, in another part of the forest, Doc Bloodwood and his medical team of vertices tree surgeons were flat out during the day, making essential oils and working overtime at night, producing oxygen. But they were very impressed with me, so they stopped work and decided to honor me for my life-saving recycling efforts. They named the wing of the hospital after me. They called it Pete's Wing. This ward used to be called the White Plague Ward because all of its patients were in there. Because the white monkeys had polluted their water and poisoned their air. To fill in the rest of the day, Doc thought it would be a good idea to take me on a tour of the hospital, and insisted that we visit the wing called the Nut House. At first I thought it must be full of sick possums, but was shocked to find out that it was full of trees junkies. Suddenly I went into a flapping frenzy, and frantically flew out an open window in search of a video arcade. I had been bitten by the computer bug again. But don't worry, there was hope for me yet, because I had discovered one PET eject.
And what about HDFL's story?
Hello, sweeties. My name's HDL, and I'm the biggest of the twin girls, the one with the huge dimples. I used to spend my day hanging around trees, eating fruit, pollen, blossoms, berries, and seeds. I was just plain lazy, and couldn't be bothered with trying to make a recycling number for myself. In fact, it wasn't until the leader of a filthy flock of snubby and smoker parrots named Brownie called me fatty that I flew into a tantrum. Then out of the nest and into the forest looking for something to recycle. I ended up finding out that bottles were all different and very hard to tell apart. But no bottles made great trumpets when you chopped their bottoms off, held them up to your beak, and squawked your lungs out into them. All the parrots loved them and used them every morning and afternoon. It drove the forest animals nuts. They were excellent. I became an overnight sensation in the novelty gift business, and soon after that, brought out the shampoo bottle water pistol. They were great for filling up with ice water and bombing sleeping cats, which caused quite a catastrophe. My second discovery was some white plastic shopping bags. But I couldn't work out how to annoy the animals with them, so I simply reused them to carry all my bottles with. As well as becoming a successful recycler, I managed to work off a lot of fat, which was quickly replaced with solid muscle. And believe me, when Miss Polly wanted a cracker, she got at least two, or else. I have discovered too that ethylene ejects certain types of bottles in white plastic shopping bags. Note, some of my shopping bags were also made from cornstarch.
And now it's time for PVC's story.
PVC, doggy tags number 3, reporting for duty. Sir. My family calls me Uncle Vinny, and so can you. My story goes something like this. One day after a few hours of playing war games with my paratrooper pals, I decided to fly home and go to bed. I was pushed. The problem was that home was a good 300 wind flaps away, and I only had about 50 good flaps left in me, and the sun looked like it was about to fall out of the sky again. But this didn't worry me. I could sleep anywhere. because I was a Green Beret and I'd been skillfully trained in forestry survival. All of a sudden the night sprang up, so I headed for a great big branch which I thought must belong to a ghost gem. Not being scared of ghosts, I landed, set up camp, and nodded off immediately. In the morning I was awoken by the sounds of running water. There must be a stream nearby, I thought, and it must be close because I can feel the vibrations in my claws. Looking down, I was amazed to discover that the wrench I was roosting on was in fact a big white plastic pipe, and the sound of running water was coming from within. A great idea popped into my head, and with the help of the local community of Blade Grass, cut the pipe into pieces. The larger parts were made into giant water cannons, and the smaller pieces were used to make automatic potato guns, which we called spud-o-matics. Later on, I had captured some clear drinking cups and some soft plastic material used in car upholstery. Some of it, but not all of it, turned out to be made of the same stuff as the pipes, even though it looked and felt different. I had discovered 3 PVC ejects.
And I suppose we had better hear LD Ethel's story.
Hi there, kitties. I'm the other twin, LD Ethel. I'm the thinner one of the two, with a little dimples. My story goes like this. One afternoon I found 3 milk bottle tops and a plastic ice cream container lid. I wondered what would happen if I threw the ice cream lid into the air. So I did. To my amazement, it started coming back for me. But on the way, it shaved the baby fluff off Jackie Martin, who was a young bird, and she was just flying by. When I told the story to the family, they thought it was hilarious, and it made making my discovery a very hard decision, mainly because some of them wanted to call it the Frisbee. But they named it after me anyway. I had discovered 4 LD ethylene objects.
And here is Gross Story.
G'day. I'm Pro, the rugged one of the polymers. One day, when I was hiking through the forest, I made an exciting discovery. And before you could shake your tail feathers, I'd opened up my own business called Pros and Ground Bird Parts. You see, I had discovered that margarine, butter, cheese dip containers, and even aerosol can lids were all made of exactly the same stuff. And they all made great swimming pools for birds. The fact that these objects came in all shapes, sizes, and colors was a bonus, because parrots came in all shapes, sizes, and colors as well. One day my nose led me to a white monkey rubbish tip, where I accidentally tripped over a pile of broken outdoor furniture and ended up with my beak stuck in the back of a chair. What is that familiar smell? I thought. Then bells started ringing in my head. This chair smelt exactly the same as my bird horse. Then another idea struck me, and before Polly could put the kettle on, I was off in search of Cousin Thermo. Cousin Thermo was a Stanley Rosella. He was also a bit of a mad inventor and was busily working on a cure to the white monkey plague. He thought the best way to get rid of their rubbish was to melt it all together and remold it, which wasn't a bad idea. It's just that it wouldn't stay together once it cooled down and reformed. That's when I stepped in and worked out that all of this rubbish was different. I made this observation simply by looking at the numbers stamped on the objects' bottoms. Then I put all the objects with the same numbers together in one pile, and that's when things really started running smoothly. After that day, Thermo had no trouble with his melting and molding method, and he, with enthusiasm, put his tool-making skills to use and invented the Firefly hot air welding gun. All this broken rubbish could now be repaired simply with hot air. I ended up using the Stanley Rosella's tool to repair 5 broken chairs, which I then sold as recycled pool furniture. Soon we both agreed that this rubbish needed a special name, so we looked in the Oxford Dictionary and found a word which was perfect, and it described everything from concrete to carpet. The word was plastic, and it meant a synthetic resinous substance which can be molded or given any permanent shape. News of Thermo's plastic welding method soon spread throughout the forest. Everyone was calling rubbish plastic, and they were also buying his tools, which he registered as Stanley's Tools. This really got up the beak of his opposition, a bird named Sid Crone. I was as proud as a peacock, because I had not only helped to discover that plastic could be melted and reused, but I also discovered 5 propylene objects. They were butter, margarine, and cheese dip containers, aerosol can lids, and certain types of outdoor furniture.
And now for the rest of Sky's story.
6 nights after falling out of my tree, I was still there, cuddling a rock for warmth. One morning, I woke up, trapped. The wind had blown a huge fruit box over me. I was scared to death. So I filled my cheeks with air and started screeching my lungs out, but no one heard me, which was very odd, because I was the loudest lorikeet in the forest, with 6 squawking trophies to prove it. Exhausted, I laid back and had a good think. I knew that outside, the wind was howling, and the rain was pouring. And yet, here I was, as snug as a bug in a rug. Wow. This would make a nice place to live, and an excellent place for a party. The very next day, I started work on my new nest. Pecked out a couple of windows, made a door, and hung my name over it. Then sent out hundreds of invitations to my housewarming party. Every parrot in the forest came to my party, and everyone left wanting a home like mine. So I ended up opening a business called Polystyrene's Box Buildings and sold as many boxes as I could find. And I found thousands of them. Everyone loved their insulated nests and rewarded me with lots and lots of seeds. News of my fame and fortune soon spread throughout the forest. And one night I was visited by a young gang of racist pigeons and chickens calling themselves the Ku Klux Klan. They really hated parrots and tried to rob me, but I was well prepared because I had the best security system seed could buy, a huge Port Lincoln parrot. He sounded the alarm. Code 28! Code 28! He squawked, and within no time at all the Polys were on the scene of the crime. But they were too late. The rotten eggs had already scrambled. The very next day, I got up early and started looking for other things made of this white foamy stuff. I came across a hamburger container, which made a great sunshade for an old turtle. After this, I found a coffee cup, which was perfect for keeping UV rays off ant nests, which gave me another great idea. And before you could say slip, slop, slap, I turned both of them into a hat. I quickly became an expert on this white foamy stuff and learned to smell it from as far as 50 trees away. Then one day I stumbled across something very confusing. A lot of the solid rubbish that the white monkeys dumped in the forest smelt exactly the same as my white foam. It may have looked and felt different, but I wasn't fooled. It was all made of the same stuff as mine. The problem was that there was so much of it laying about that I couldn't keep track of it all. I know what I'll do, I said. I'll divide it into individual groups. Group 1, foam containers. Things such as fruit and vegetable boxes, milkshake and coffee cups and lids, hamburger boxes and meat trays. 2, foam packaging. Things such as TV, video and stereo packaging. 3, solid food containers. Things such as yogurt, ice cream and drink cups, biscuit trays and clear egg cartons. 4, utensils. Things such as disposable knives, forks, spoons and plates, disposable razors, biros, rulers, pencil sharpeners and set squares. 5, cosmetic and pharmaceuticals. Things such as combs, hair clips, brushes, makeup containers, cream and pill jars. 6, solid miscellaneous items. Things such as cassette and CD sleeves and casings, buttons, tags, solid clear drinking cups. and thousands of children's toys. The list was endless. It was a big discovery, and it was mine, so I went and named them after me. I had found at least 6 groups of styrene objects, but I knew there were a lot more.
Like parrots. There's hundreds of different kinds of plastics, and they're also found all over the world. The plastics in this story deal with the most common types used in everyday packaging. PET, PVC, polyethylene, polypropylene, and polystyrene. Lesson 1. Each story. This part of the story focuses on polyethyl perfilate, commonly known as PET1. It shows that clear PET is mainly used to produce soft drink bottles, and it shows you that you can reuse plastic as well as recycle it. Lesson 2. HDFL story. Here we are shown that a lot of bottles are made from high-density polyethylene HDPE2, and that it's very flexible. Lesson 3. PVC story. This shows us that polyvinyl chloride, PVC3, is widely used for making pipes, and when a plasticizer is introduced in its manufacture, it produces a soft material known as vinyl. But other plastics such as polypropylene can also be used to produce similar products. Lesson 4. LDFL story. The low-density polyethylene, LDPE4, is commonly used to make milk bottle tops. It's slightly different in its chemical makeup to the high-density polyethylene that is used to make the actual bottle. In fact, there are dozens of types of ethylene, all being used for different purposes. Lesson 5. Grow story. Here we are shown that most margarine and butter containers are made from polypropylene PP5. But not all are. Some are made from polystyrene. It's telling us that all plastics can be melted down and reformed, but they can't blend together unless they are of the same or similar plastic. Plastics will melt and flow as a liquid with heat, where it can be molded into a shape and then cool down into a solid. If plastics of the same type are melted together, they will cool as one. You can't melt different types of plastic together because they will not join together when cooled. A hot air plastic welding gun is one type of tool used for plastic welding. It's a bit like a supercharged hairdryer that concentrates the heat in one small area. This heats the plastic to the point that it turns into a liquid and flows. If you melt in a separate piece of plastic of the same type, you can join plastic together, which is the same principle as metal welding. Other methods of plastic welding also exist, for example, chemical and electric. Lesson 6. Sky story. The 6 groups used in the story are fictitious, but the objects weren't. They were all made of polystyrene, PS6. Polystyrene is manufactured in many forms, and was invented over 50 years ago. It's a polymer made from the synthetic hydrocarbon styrene. It was copied from natural storax balsam, which was extracted from the oriental sweet gum tree. In one process, polystyrene is made as a solid plastic. Without adding pigment, it's transparent and looks just like clear acrylic. Cassette sleeves are solid polystyrene. With pigment, it can be used to make disposable razors, etc. In another process, it can be mixed with blowing agents such as penton gas, which turns it into expanded polystyrene foam. This gas is added during the manufacturing process, which then produces a foam roughly 50 times its original size. Some real facts about real parrots. Scaly-breasted lorikeets are commonly known as scalies or greenies. And a greenie just happens to be the slang word for an environmentalist. Altogether, there are 27 orders of birds in the world, grouped into the class A's. In Australia there are representatives of all families in 19 orders. Cacatuidae, Cetacidae, Apopsidae, Polyptilidae, Platycercidae and Luriidae. These groups are divided into genus, related genus into a family, and related families into an order. Parrots, cockatoos, lorikeets and lories are of the order Cetaciformes, and from the families Luriidae. In Australia there are 6 species of rainbow lorikeets, and they belong to a group of 54, which are spread across Southeast Asia, Polynesia and also Melanesia.